Run, Ricky, run into retirement. Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Jacobs, and you're listening to Juiced Sports Radio. Ricky Williams calls it a career. I know the news happened yesterday, but we are all over it today. Just needed a day to sort of reflect on the crazy, bizarre character that was Ricky Williams. Let me tell you something. The NFL, I'm not sure they've ever seen a character like Ricky Williams, and I'm not sure they ever will see a character again like Ricky Williams. He truly was one of a kind, for better or for worse. That was the infamous magazine headline on ESPN magazine in 1999 when the Saints drafted Ricky Williams, and there was Mike Ditka standing next to Ricky Williams at the altar, Ricky Williams in a wedding dress. And that was before his NFL career had ever started. The two truly were married to each other in the football sense, after Ditka had given up an unbelievable 8 draft picks, including their entire 1999 slate, to get Ricky and to purge him from the Redskins. He was the Dennis Rodman of the NFL, and I'm not even sure that does it justice. You know, that deal at the time, which, as I said, was all their 99 selections and a 2001st and a third-round choice, was the biggest deal since 1959 for one player in the NFL. Back then, the Rams traded 9 players and draft picks to the Chicago Cardinals for fullback Ollie Matson. Ever heard of him? Me neither. You know, it's funny when you think about Ricky Williams. He was a franchise running back who didn't want to be the star of his franchise. He was always burdened with these incredible expectations to be the running back that he was at Texas, and he dominated at the University of Texas. Won a Heisman in 1998. Holds or shares 20 NCAA records, all-time rushing leader in 98 with 6,279 yards. Ron Dane broke that record a year later. But, I mean, he had 2,327 yards in the 98 season. Those are incredible numbers. He was an All-American 97, 98, a Doak Walker winner, a Jim Brown winner, a Walter Camp Award winner, a Maxwell winner, a Heisman winner. The guy was great. And when he came to the NFL, people expected that same level of greatness, and Ricky wasn't ready for it. He didn't want to be what everyone else wanted him to be. The guy had social anxiety disorder, and he hid behind his helmet in those dreadlocks and did interviews. He didn't want to be seen. He just wanted to do his job and then get off the field and do whatever he did in his life. The Saints tied their future to him. It didn't work out. Mike Ditka was fired. Ricky Williams was traded. And back then, in 2002, when the Dolphins acquired Ricky Williams for, at the time, which was 4 picks, 2 first-round picks. So you think 12 picks were exchanged for this guy over his career. Again, amazing. Williams was expected to be the savior, the answer, the difference maker in Miami. Finally, the Dolphins had a franchise running back. After all those years of Dan Marino carrying the team, Marino had retired a few years earlier, but the Dolphins had a stout defense. They had been to the playoffs 5 years in a row before that. He was going to be the guy to get them over the top, and who knows, maybe to a Super Bowl. That was the expectation in South Florida. Ricky Williams did his part. In 2002, 1,853 yards rushing, a first-team All-Pro. I believe he had over 400 carries. The guy was solid. But again, he did not want that role. And after 2003, another successful season, another season that the Dolphins didn't make the playoffs, ironically, Ricky Williams came to the conclusion that, you know what, he was bored of football, and he'd rather do drugs instead and go into Australia and live a different lifestyle. So on August 2nd, 2004, he retired out of nowhere, and I can't think of a retirement that was more stunning and out of nowhere and abrupt than that one. That was one of a kind, probably the strangest, most unexpected retirement in my lifetime that I've seen. And I remember just a year earlier I'd bought a Dolphins Ricky Williams jersey, and I wanted to set it on fire. Because to us, it seemed like he was literally abandoning the team, and it was just wrong. You don't do that to your team on the eve of training camp. Joe Horn, his former Saints wide receiver, when he was in New Orleans, probably put it best when he said, quote, "I don't think guys in the locker room could grasp that he wanted to be himself." I don't think any of us could, honestly. You know, he was just different. And when you break the mold, you're either beloved for it or you're belittled for it. And because it came at the expense of drugs, a lot of people hated him for it. A lot of people thought he was a phony. A lot of people thought he was a fake, a quitter. You know, he's the father of 5 children by 3 different women. He's a vegan. He's a PETA supporter. He's married to a longtime girlfriend that they tied the knot in 2009. He's just a fascinating dude. But he's weird. He's weird as hell. He is weird. You know, he's played in Canada. He came back to the Dolphins on and off, was suspended the entire 2006 season. In 2009, Williams rushed for 1,000 yards, which made him the longest gap between 1,000-yard seasons in NFL history, 6 seasons, which I think is incredible given that some running backs don't even play 5. That's a pretty cool stat. So, you know, when I look back, I think Ricky Williams, very good player, didn't really want to be great because he wanted to do other things. His heart was elsewhere. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no one, you know, despite being paid millions of dollars, it's not required of an athlete to fully have his heart in the sport that he's playing. He saw it as a career. It was not a life. He wanted to do other things. He felt too restricted, so now he's gone from the game after 1 season in Baltimore. And there he goes. That's it. Ricky Williams, off to do whatever he is. And, you know, it will be interesting to see where he is. He'll be one of those guys that when SI follows up in 10 years to do the Where Are They Now issue, I want to know, where is Ricky Williams? Where in the world is Ricky Williams? How will you remember Ricky Williams? Let us know. You know, it was quite a career. Did he live up to the hype? Probably not. But I think you got more than our weight in gold in the other stuff, the backstories. My name is Scott Jacobs. This has been a special Run, Ricky Run, right into retirement edition of Juiced Sports Radio.